There you go. Oh yeah, it's probably gonna give me a. But there we go. Right. There we go. Oh my god, we got 11 people waiting already. Well, hello everybody. Let me just really quickly get off this. I think everything's all good. Thank you. Hello everybody. We've already got a few people in chat, so I'll just read out who's in the chat before we get into the stream properly. We've got Thomas. Hi, how you doing? Great name, by the way, if I do say so myself. Not even just the hi bit, but just the Thomas bit in particular. I'm not biased in that at all. Hello to Cry10, Ryan Who, Cabby Cat06, Dan26, and Blobfish. Hello, how are you all doing? Hope you're all doing well. I can't believe there's 12 of you here already. That's mental. Hello to Stefka Hiristova. I hope I'm saying that correctly. If I'm not, feel free to correct me. Fishy Dias and Nathan Mann. I hope you all are doing well. Hello, Hux. I guess we could just start this. The first thing I want to talk about, I want to talk to you guys about a little anecdote that happened to me recently to start off the stream. So I've mentioned a couple times before that I'm planning on doing a video on the character building toys. Now, for those of you who are uninitiated, character building was kind of like characters equivalent character options, as in the figure makers for Doctor Who, Lego. They're basically their Lego equivalent, and they used to make basically fake Doctor Who Lego. And I wanted to get a 38 pack of the little mystery bags that they get for a video basically. And so I ordered one off of a very, I wouldn't say it was a shady looking website, but everything was like the same price. Hello Elite Master and Tom Baker as well. So yeah, everything was the same price, which was a bit of a red flag, but I thought that'd be fine. So I ordered one of these 28 packs, and I waited about a month, and I still hadn't received anything. So I fired off an email to the company. I say, look, I've been waiting for this package for what feels like an eternity now, and I've had nothing. What's going on with this? And they emailed me back. They said, yeah, I'm really sorry. It got stuck at one of our warehouses. We're going to send it over properly as soon as we can. And I'm like, great, thanks. Done. So I finally get it today. And do you want to know what they sent me? They sent me a pair of sunglasses. And they're not even nice sunglasses. They are a pair of brown ones, if I can get them out of the bag. Yeah, they're a pair of brown sunglasses. This is a bit ASMR, isn't it? I don't know where they... Oh, there it is. Yeah, a pair of... Look at this. Just look at this for a second. A pair of brown sunglasses. Look, I could even... I'm not sending these back, so I don't even mind. It's not working. Alright, so they send me this pair of... There we go. Have I checked this out? I haven't. See, look, it's still got the tag on them. Maybe I should just do the whole stream like this. Hang on. I'll just do the whole stream like this. Look at that. I'm looking pretty dapper, I think. Maybe I'll just do the whole stream like this. So yeah, they sent me these when what they were meant to be sending me. Let's see if I can get a picture on screen. What they were meant to be sending me was Doctor Who character building. They were meant to be sending me like this sort of stuff. I'll see if I can find the exact thing. 38 pack. 38 pack. There we go, right. They were meant to send me... I still can't find it. Basically, they were meant to send me some of that, and we got this. This was what we got instead. Which is very much not the same thing, and I'm going to take these off because it's actually really hard to see. So yeah, they basically scammed me out of 30 quid, so I'm trying to get that back. So I guess this is my time to say, if you want a super chat today, today's really the good day to do it. But let me just see what you guys are saying in the chat before we get into the big stuff today. We've got 3 different topics planned, so buckle up. It's going to be a bumper stream today. I hope you all enjoy it. I just thought I'd let that little funny anecdote happen. Not surprised there are this many people here. The stream was posted basically every server I'm in. Look, that's the grind, Blobfish. You gotta understand. This is the grind. This is the YouTuber way. This is how I got started, you know. Therese is secretly Smash Mouth. Hello, Clack of the Geek. How are you doing? Haven't seen you here in a little while. Hope you're doing well. I mean, I've seen you in the comments and so I haven't seen you at a live stream specifically. Yeah, let's talk about the first thing that I want to talk about. So this stream is titled Some Hope for Doctor Who Series 13. And I found this, credit to Exci who tweeted this, and I basically just stole it to talk about it on a live stream. This is something that was added to the Doctor Who Tardis wiki, I believe, in regards to Series 13, and it reads, as you can see, Maxine Alderton was confirmed as a core writer for the series. Now, I don't know whether you guys know this, but Maxine Alderton was the writer of Haunting of Villa Diodati, which was probably, in my opinion, the strongest episode of Series 12. I mean, you might all disagree with that, but like, I think for me, that's the one where the Doctor felt the most like the Doctor. It was, I think the creep factor was really there. I thought the Lone Side Man was really effective, and he kind of got butchered and sort of sidelined in the later episodes for me personally. So I think that episode was like the strongest one. So for them to confirm that she's a core writer on the series, or at least imply it, that's a really good sign to me, because it proves that it just shows that like one of the better writers is being brought back, and being brought back in a big way. Now, I saw a video from, I believe it was William Who, if I'm correct, talking about how she could be the next showrunner. And while I'm not 100% sure on that, if I had to pick out of the current crop of, you know, the team on the current era of the show to be the next custodian of the show, if you like, if I had to pick another showrunner out of the selection of people we've had work on the show so far, it probably would be Maxine Alderton. So to hear that she is going to be a core writer on Series 13, I'm well up for that. I don't know what core writer means, like whether that means like what Chibnall was in Series 11, where he wrote like half the series, or just maybe a couple more episodes than one, or what. But yeah, that's just a really cool bit of news. So let me know what you guys think about that. Hey Therese, you're awesome, and on the subject, who would you have for 14? I get asked this question a lot, and it's a question that I've thought about for a while. I did a whole video, actually. I don't know whether any of the wrenches, or the mods, or whatever you want to call them, can link it in the chat, but I did a video pitching Carl Urban for the 14th Doctor, who, if you don't know, played, I can't remember his name now. One of the main characters in The Boys, and I thought he was Butcher. That's the one, Butcher. He played Butcher in The Boys, and I thought he was really good, and he could have added that manic energy to the Doctor. I think if I had to come up with a realistic person, though, I did have one in mind, and I can't remember who I chose now. Yeah, I'll come back to you on that. Fugitive and Haunting of Villa Diodati are the best. That's fair, Elite Master. I think Fugitive, for me, it relies a bit too heavily on like previously established elements. I think if the Jadoon weren't in it, if Captain Jack wasn't in it, I don't think it would have been held in quite as high regard by some people. That's just me personally, though. If you disagree on that, that's totally fine. It's just I think for me, it's not as, it wouldn't be as strong without those elements. But again, feel free to disagree on that. But Haunting of Villa Diodati is my favourite Jodie story, and I genuinely enjoyed it. Yeah, I rewatched it, and I will say for me, it's like, I think that's the pinnacle of the era for me so far. I think what worked about it was, despite the fact, oh there we go, Adzinko, cheers Adzinko for linking that. I think that despite it having an older element, it still felt relatively fresh. Even though I know there were a lot of comparisons to, I believe, Silver Turk was the Big Finish story that people compared it to. It was something that, just to me, felt like a really cool premise. I do stand by the fact I think it would have worked really well as a Weeping Angel story, because the house is like a, what's it called? It's got a perception filter on it. Oops, my headphones are falling off. It's got a perception filter on it, so and obviously the Time Lords have always been linked with what's the face? The Time Lords have always been linked to the Weeping Angels in some way, because you got that bit in End of Time where the woman's got her face covered up like a weeping angel. And I think there's a line in End of Time as well where Rassilon's like the weeping angels of old, something like that. So I think it would have been really cool if they'd have had the ability to make that house go like that. I think they've just worked really well in that story. But that's why I personally hope that if Maxine Alderton is going to be a core writer, I hope she does the Weeping Angel one, because I think that she might be really well suited to that, given haunting ability of Dali last year. But one thing I've seen with Chibnall, he is awful at his own monsters, but very good with old characters. To a certain extent, I agree. I think, like, I don't really like that he made the Cyberman's penultimate goal to be totally AI life forms, even though they kind of mock it in the script. It's still kind of bad that that is their ultimate goal. I really don't like that. I think he does Daleks decently enough. Like, I think the problem, I don't sort of like how often they're sort of jumping on people's backs and sort of possessing them, but I'm willing to overlook that as like maybe an element of the not defense drones, the reconnaissance ones. Joseph Stalin has arrived from Discord. Hello, Joseph Stalin. Yes. Can I say my theory? Yeah, of course you can, mate. Just put it in the chat and I'll give it a read. Because I'm just reading through the chat at the minute. But yeah, what was I going to say? No, I think Maxine Alderton's a really good choice to be brought back as a writer. Half the time, others are like, wow, when they realise who is the Doctor, and then there's me, who is that? I'm guessing that's in reference to like when a Doctor's announced, which is fair enough. I didn't really know who Jodie Whittaker was before. I didn't even really know Capaldi that well. Like, obviously he was probably, I'd recognised him and I knew him sort of vaguely, but like, I've never really had a Doctor be announced and be like, oh yeah, I've seen them in loads. And maybe that's just an effect of becoming older, but yeah. RTD does the best Daleks in New Who. I agree. The Weeping Angels are not Time Lords due to the fact they can't regenerate. I think where the whole the Weeping Angel thing came in, fish idiots, which I hope I'm saying that correct, is I think they're meant to be Time Lords long after their ability to regenerate has sort of worn off. So so that's kind of once their regeneration cycles expire, they become Weeping Angels. Obviously, it hasn't happened to the Doctor yet, because obviously in Time of the Doctor, he got a extended regeneration cycle, and in the case of obviously the Timeless Child, it might just be unlimited now. Google Marquise de Cabaras. I think I'm saying that right. I hope I'm probably butchered that, and I'm sorry. But I'll take a look at that now whilst we're I'll just give that a quick Google. Right, here we go. Marquise de Cabaras. Is it an actor? It's just a sort of a. I don't know who this is. It just looks like an actor. It just looks like a cartoon drawing, so I'm not really sure who it is. Actor. Okay, is it this guy? No, I don't think it's him. I think it might be this guy, but I don't know. Okay, so is he in Ghostface? I don't know who this guy is. You'll have to let me know, Nathan Mann, who this guy is, because I'm not 100% sure. Would you like to see the Ninth Doctor come back? In the TV show, yeah, I'd be down for that. I think it would have to be like an anniversary, though. It'd have to be the 60th. I don't want them... Like, the thing is, I think, for me personally, the multi-Doctor things should be saved for, like, the special events. So, obviously, the last one we had was Twice Upon a Time, and I think like it works there, I guess, because it's meant to be like a metaphor for obviously the 12th Doctor doesn't want to change, and you sort of compare, you know, him not wanting to change to the first Doctor and how it's very similar. And it, you know, if he'd have given into the doubts all those years ago, he wouldn't have gone on to be the man he was. How do I be a good YouTuber? I'd love some teaching from the master of YouTube. I don't know about that, man. I mean, my analytics have been kind of low recently. I guess if I could give anyone advice on YouTube in particular, it would be to, I guess, just stand out. And that seems really, that seems like really vague advice, and a bit waffly. But what I mean by that is, it's such a crowded space with so many different voices trying to get your attention. I think you have to have a niche and a gimmick where you fit in. I think, for example, if you look at like the most successful YouTubers, Josh Snares, he is a classic Who channel predominantly, and he does a lot of the stuff on like the missing episodes and stuff like that. That's his niche market. So therefore he excels at that, and he's like really big in that. Harbo, his niche is like the video essays, and then obviously like I think Confused Adipose's niche would be like the theories. My niche, I don't really know what my niche is. I just sort of say things and hope for the best, really. And sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't work. Lawrence, that guy from Blink, he might return in Series 13. I heard something about someone from Blink returning, but I didn't really... I just sort of scrolled past it on Twitter and I went, oh, alright. Hello there, Let's Go Anime. I hope you're doing alright. Yeah, I don't know much about that, but if you could fill me in, let me know. I save a lot about Doctor Who on Pinterest. I sometimes post about Doctor Who on Instagram. Yeah, that's cool. I wish I knew more about how to do things like TikTok and Instagram. I'm terrible at TikTok. I just can't do it. I don't understand it. Like, the thing is, I think TikTok is so much harder to edit on than, like, when you've got a computer for editing. Hello, George A. How you doing? Yeah, TikTok's a really hard thing to edit. And, like, Joe, Confused Adipose, he's really into it. And it helps you grow a lot. But for me, I just don't know how to do it and how to do it well, really. So I guess I need teaching in that. Oh, is the this character in the mobile game? Okay, I said in the live stream, I'm not too bothered about the mobile game personally. I know a lot of people are, but personally for me, it's just not my thing. I'll probably give it a go at some point, but I mean, if I need to play it to understand Edge of Reality, I probably will. But Clack of the Geek says, I don't know what my niche is. It's either me doing comedy sketches or the fact I do a bit of everything. I think I'm the sort of jack of all trades, and you can argue master of none. Of the like, I've sort of done everything. I guess like the most consistent thing I've ever done is a podcast. A podcast or just something where you're doing something with someone else is a really good way to get your foot in the door because you get talking to a lot of different people. Wait, is there a 25-second delay? I don't know how I would fix that, but I hopefully it's not too. Joe's TikTok is good. I've tried and I can't do it. But power to him, you know, he's really mastered like those quick edits. I just can't do them. I saw a video all about the new Doctor Who theme tune for the mobile game. Wait, is there a new theme tune as well? Damn, they've really gone all out. You can make the sunglasses your thing. What, these disgusting brown sunglasses that I got sent? I'll just make them my thing. No, why delay? I don't know why there's a delay. Is there anything I can do to stop that? I don't know. I guess I'll just carry on, and if it becomes too much, I'll see if I can do something about it. Right now it seems fine, so I'm just gonna... It seems okay, so I'm just gonna carry on with that. I'll see if I can... what was I going to say? Alright, I'll move on to the second topic of discussion. So, I don't know whether you guys saw this, but Funko Pop, they released a mobile game announcement, and it's featuring Doctor Who Funko Pops in it. Yeah, why is there such a big delay? I don't know. But yeah, so Funko Pop announced that they were going to have a mobile game, and it was going to have Doctor Who characters in it. And recently we got, and obviously recently a rumor came out just before that announcement, I believe, that Funko Pop was ending their license with they were ending their license with Doctor Who, so they weren't going to have the Doctor Who license anymore. And obviously, the announcement of Doctor Who being in the mobile game kind of threw that into question a bit. Like, how are they not going to have the license if they're in a mobile game? Yeah, there's a Funko Pop mobile game that they announced, and Doctor Who's going to be in it. But so yeah, people were questioning. Wait, so is the license good, or are we, gone, or no more Doctor Who, or what? So I emailed them. I was just curious. So I emailed Funko, and my response was the following. Not that, the other one. Hello, Tom. That's me. Thank you for contacting us. At the moment, we do not have much information to share if Doctor Who products are coming available anytime sooner. The best way to get all this is by subscribing to our e-newsletter and follow our social channels, where we will announce our plans and new releases. So not really, it's a bit of a non-statement, really. It was just them saying, yeah, we don't have anything at the moment. But they didn't say that they were ending their contract with them. They just sort of, it's kind of just, yeah, it was a bit of a nothing statement, but I wanted to at least. So it just says that they haven't got anything planned. It doesn't mean that they have ended the license. So if you see anyone saying that the license agreement has ended, that's not something that's been confirmed. That's just something that is circulating currently. Hey, Confused Adipose, how you doing? I'm doing alright, man. I'm doing alright. Yeah, so if you see anyone saying that the Funko Pop license has ended, not saying don't believe them, but just hold off before you go assuming that that is the case. That was probably our shortest segment because, like, there's not much to talk about there. Yeah, everyone's just gonna hype it. Everyone's just getting all excited about Confused Adipose. That's great, man. It's so weird when I get in, like, the Ace Creeper live streams and people recognize me. I always find that weird. So it's like a little congregation in the chat. It's so cool. It's good to see you though, man. Thanks for coming by. The final, this final main topic, but obviously, we can talk about other things as well. But I wanted to go through like different things in this sort of live stream. Is obviously last night, as you know, we had Doctor Who comic relief, or a 30-second clip of Doctor Who comic relief. Certainly, if you haven't seen the clip, hopefully Adzinko's still here. He may be able to put it in the chat. The link to the actual not Children in Need. I get those two confused all the time. Comic relief clip. But we got that. It was about 30 seconds long. Oop, my chair's still on. I would have ran into the table then, and that would have not been good. So we had that, and someone tweeted out the following. It was William Who again, and I wanted to talk about it briefly because it's been annoying me as well. It says this: Dear BBC, this is Doctor Who. You own Doctor Who. Start showcasing it. Thanks. And as passive-aggressive as that is, I completely agree with the sentiment of this. Billy Garrett John, how are you doing, man? We get some celebrities in here today. First time seeing you in one of these. Oh, thank you, man. Oh, yeah, no, I really enjoy doing these. Yeah, the clip was disappointing. I went in... I said this before regarding Doctor Who stuff. I went in with, like, zero expectations for that clip, and I still ended up somehow disappointed. It's so strange. But yeah, the basic sentiment was sort of that, like, BBC is not really putting enough into marketing this current era, and it's something I completely agree with. I'm not the biggest fan in the world, as you all know, but at the same time, I think every era of Doctor Who should be given its fair crack of the whip, it should be given its fair time in the spotlight, if you will. It's time to shine, and I just feel like recently we haven't really been getting that. Like, when the TV show's not on, it just sort of feels like Doctor Who stops existing for a while. Hello, Lone Cyberman and Non-White Knight, how are you doing? yeah, when Doctor Who's not on, it kind of just feels like it just stops existing. Like the BBC doesn't do a lot to push it in the stopping points or the gaps in between, and I think they really need to work on that. For me personally, is wait, if Yaz is a pre-Hartnell Doctor, does that mean she has character development? I mean, let's not get our hopes up too unimmeasurably high now. Um, no, that was quite, like, I just saw a lot of people tweeting about when the comic relief clip came out that, oh, Yaz is a pre-Hartnell Doctor because they call her a doctor in the sketch. So I was like, well, that's my title. Yeah, so I just feel like they need to start acknowledging that it exists a bit more. I think you need something throughout the year. Like the mobile game, I've heard so much about Lonely Assassins. I don't know whether it's just because I follow a bunch of YouTubers, because I've always loved that community and I love being part of that community. So I don't know whether it's just because I follow a bunch of YouTubers, but that's just been non-stop. But outside of that, it's just sort of been radio silence. And obviously, in that case, it's been YouTubers doing a lot of the work. Like, I haven't seen BBC do an awful lot at all. Like, the last thing we got was the Dan announcement in Revolution of the Daleks. At the end of Revolution of the Daleks, they said, stay tuned for a special announcement for Doctor Who fans. And then John Bishop showed up, and that's the last thing we got. And yeah, I feel like we should just get, like, a little bit more. I think what I said in the last live stream was I hope what they do this year is they have, like, a more slow, progressive rollout of stuff. Because what they did for Series 12 marketing was they waited right until the very end, and they went, here's your stuff, rather than giving us, like, little nuggets throughout the rest of the year. And obviously, by the time they started promoting it, I think they started promoting Series 12 in November. It was coming out in January, so they'd left it a bit too late. So what I think they should do this time round, is, yeah, just give us a bit more throughout the year, and they just don't seem to be doing it. Like, Comic Relief, like, a lot of people will say it's about the charity, and I agree, but I think it should have had more of a presence at Comic Relief than what it had, in my opinion. Spoiler alert, the clip was bigger than you thought. It's hinting that Yaz is becoming a doctor on casualty in the universe of Who, and the whole of Series 13 is set at a hospital. I mean, if that turns out to be true, Harry, you're going to look like the smartest person ever. It won't be, but it would be weird if it was. I'll scroll up a bit. Who here watches Crispy Pro? I do. I'm here, and I do. I'm a fanboy for majority of other YouTube people. It's why I love being part of this community. It was so surreal for me the other day. Mr. Tardis had a live stream, and I was on it, and like there was 100 people watching that, and I was like, oh my god, it's Mr. Tardis, and I'm on a live stream. This is so fun. So yeah, that was a bit. TVH, I really wish they would do proper sketches again, like Time Crash or Space and Time, with events like, I agree, like, a lot of people were saying, oh, wouldn't it be cool if we got announcements for the next series? I honestly don't think that's necessary. I think just some sketches involving, like, maybe, like, the crew, or they get stuck in the TARDIS like they did before, or it can all just be filmed on the TARDIS as well. It doesn't have to be something really high budget or high concept. Just something to just show that, like, Doctor Who exists would be nice. And, like, oh, that's a good question for Shidias. What do you use to edit? I use Sony Vegas 16 specifically, the latest version. I originally started out with Sony Vegas 14 though, and I used that for the majority of the time. I think I upgraded. I say upgraded. I pirated it. I think I upgraded to 16 in, I think, January of this year, maybe December of last year. It was fairly recently, but yeah, Sony Vegas, I think, for me, is just the one I've always been comfortable with, and I think my editing is something that I've really been, like, trying to improve over time. Like, I think you'll see that in the latest video where I suggest the idea of Yaz being the Times Child, which, if you haven't seen that, please go do watch it. I put a lot of effort into that one. And, like, obviously, it would mean the world to me if we could get that one up to, like, 1K or something, but, yeah. That one, like I put a lot of time into that one, and I think the editing came off really well. So that's something I've been working on. I think the Jejune is returning in Series 13. I mean, yeah, I wouldn't be surprised if we got like a cameo of the Jejune. Like that would make total sense to me. That would make complete and total sense to me. Because obviously in Series 12 they were sort of just left. Because obviously the end of Timeless Children, they capture the Doctor. They go fugitive, the Doctor, and then they beam her away to the prison. And you'd think they'd have had a big presence in the prison, but they just sort of didn't, and that was strange. So maybe we'll get something with them in Series 13. Something I saw circulating when the first leaked pictures of Series 13 were coming out was that what was it? There was like an ankle collar thing around like Jodie's leg, sort of like what a prisoner would have if they were under like house arrest or something. So people were speculating that maybe, this is what she does in order to avoid her prison sentence, is she rounds up all the villains that maybe escaped to the prison by accident. What was I saying? Yeah, no. So maybe that's what her sort of punishment will be, is like, look, if you're not going to be in prison, you've got to round up all these villains, which is why we'd have returning villains for Series 13. Yeah. Harry Hudson, you're not a proper YouTuber if you don't pirate all your editing effects and softwares. I agree. I think the only time when you can justify paying for it is when you're making enough money to the point where, like, paying for it's not only like an option, like not only like viable, but like you're comfortable and like it's not gonna just tank all your earnings, basically. I just hope the Doctor stops calling the Tardis team fam. It makes me feel nothing but pain whenever I hear it. Yeah, I'm not a big fan of the fam line. I've never been a big fan of that term. I've always found it a little bit cringy. But the thing is, in Revolution of the Daleks, is she says bye fam. So I'm hoping that the original ensemble of Graham, Ryan, and Yaz were the fam, and this new crop of people, obviously Yaz and the new character Dan, will be called something different. What they'll be called, I have no idea. Probably like the Squad or something like that. What are we, some kind of Suicide Squad? I'm sorry. I don't know why I made a reference to that. What if the fugitive Doctor... What if the Doctor is a fugitive because she escaped prison, which kind of creates a time loop? Yeah, that could very well be the case. It's kind of weird that, like, in Father's Day, they introduced the... What are they called? Not the Krillitane, those are the things from School Reunion. The weird bat creatures in Father's Day that, like, control time. One of you all say it in the chat. That basically make sure that nothing goes wrong with time, and then you just never see them again. Like, realistically, they should be all over the Moffat era, but they just weren't. And I think they should be brought back. Just do me a favour, Shittiest, don't spam, like, the same letter. Cheers. At the fam. Potentially, that could be the case as well. I do kind of agree with whoever said it before. Yeah, whoever said it before, that whole fam thing, I'd kind of prefer it if they sort of sideline that for a bit. Send me a DM, I'll just take a little read of that now. Yeah, Joel. Yeah, I do. We will be doing it at some point. I've got the book now, so it will just be a case of time, really, and when I can do it. I'm probably going to wait. Oh, we've got lag. No, it's okay. Ooh. YouTube is not receiving enough video. What does that mean? Oh, no, that's not good. Come on now. We streamed, like, with no issues last time, and the second I try it again, it completely tanks, which is fun. No, it's okay, we're not going to report you, but just don't do it again. Yeah, it froze for a few people, and apparently it's lagging out, which is a bit annoying. Hopefully it won't last long. It should be a bit better now. Let me open the widget here. Or not. Okay. Error. YouTube is not receiving... Oh, it's be fine. Stream just goes long. I hope that it comes back. Hang on. stream status poor. What do I do to fix that? How do I, let me know if it gets any better. Is it any better now? I can't really do anything. I'm just hoping it's better. Maybe not. I don't know. Just let me know if it is. I read somewhere that the Doctor says fam because of rap music from Stormzy and Dizzy Rascal, and the evidence of this is because Matt Smith's Doctor is in a recording session with an artist. I mean, the chances of that being the intention are pretty slim. I mean, you could sort of have like a fan theory that that's the case. The Reapers, that's the one. If the Doctor and if Yaz get it on, would it be called Doctor Who? Oh god. What do you use to stream? OBS is what I use to stream. Okay, the little error thing's gone away now, so we should be a bit better. Apologies for that, folks. I have no idea what the reasoning for it was. Yeah, I use OBS for streaming. The Reapers are basically scavengers. They try to feed off, but they won't be there for all of them. Fair enough. I just think it'd be cool to see them again. Yeah, I think the chat's a bit delayed for me. Either the chat's delayed or the stream's delayed. So, like, you guys are seeing what I'm trying to say, like, 5 seconds before, like 20 seconds before I actually say it. But yeah, no, so the Maxine Alderton thing, that gives me hope for Series 13, which is what the main premise of this stream was just that, yeah, the idea of her being a core writer, I think that's a good shout. I think, yeah, she's a good choice to be a core writer. And I think if we had to pick someone to be showrunner following Chibnall out of this current team, she would be the one that I pick, personally. If Doctor Who gets better, will Paul Strack F off? Probably not, because he will just find something else to complain about, and to say that's woke because it has women in it. It's fine. Most streams do be like that. Yeah, that is true. Whilst I'm looking forward to Series 13, looking at previous series and especially the festive specials, I doubt the community's hype will be met within the show. Yeah, like the thing with the community is we're just trying to find anything to get excited about at this point. I think that's why people were getting hyped for comic relief, is just because we want something. We just want something to get excited about, and people went, oh, maybe comic relief will be the thing that gives us what we want. And then when comic relief's over, it's like, okay, maybe this will be the thing. Maybe Comic-Con will be the thing where we get a bunch of announcements in it. People just wait for the next thing along that could have anything for us to talk about. I'm really hoping that we at least get an announcement for that Edge of Reality game soon. The rest of this stream should just become us trying to find a niche. I'd go for the sub sunglasses. I'll tell you what, if someone super chats, I will put the sunglasses back on for the rest. If someone super chats, I gotta set a goal. 10 quid for the sunglasses to come back. Otherwise, it's just because it's very cumbersome. If the ratings continue to fall next season, do you think the show will be rested again? Says Non-White Knight. I think, yes, potentially. I think a rest. I don't think the BBC will be keen to do it, because it is something that, even when the show's not doing well ratings-wise, it does make them a lot of money. So I don't think it'll be something that they'll be keen to do. But I certainly think that if things keep going the way they are, I think, like with Doctor Who, it's kind of inevitable that it will have, like, periods of ups and downs. And I think, like, because the thing with the ratings is, while yes, they are down, it's not the only statistic that matters anymore. We still have to consider China and HBO Max and all the other fields that are giving Doctor Who money. We've got to think about all the merchandise and stuff like that. And from what I can see, the merchandise isn't doing that great. Like, there's hard to get specific numbers on that. But, yeah, there's so many other factors to consider. I think Doctor Who is definitely, like, it's safe to the 60th. Like, that's pretty much guaranteed. It's what happens after that, which will be the deciding factor, really, whether things continue in the same way or they slow down or what. Even if it gets better, those people will still say it's terrible. Yeah, the thing is, the problem with some people in this community, and obviously I don't want to name too many names. Like, obviously someone mentioned one of the names there, and I only mentioned his name because, like, it was literally in the comment. But and it wouldn't really make sense if I'd have said the comment without saying his name. So without saying any names, there's some people in this community who go in wanting it to be bad. And I could just never do that. I could never go into Doctor Who and want it to fail. There are some people who want this version of the show to fail because obviously they want, a different era. And at the end of the day, an era is going to come when an era is going to come. A new era is going to come when a new era is going to come. You're not going to force it into existence. You might as well just go in, hope for the best, prepare for the worst, I guess would be the motto that I would say. Like, don't go in thinking, oh, it's going to be terrible, it's just going to be more of this and that and the other. Because if you go in with that mindset, you're always going to be disappointed. Like, the thing I've realised is, with Revolution, as it's gone down in my it has gone down in my estimations over time. But yeah, Revolution's gone down in my estimations over time a little bit. But when it came out, I thought it was just kind of a bit of fun, and I genuinely think it's one of the stronger ones of this era for me. It's not perfect. It feels like 5 different stories at once, and the the emotional beats seem really crammed in, but I definitely think that it's stronger than a lot of stuff. I think Resolution is probably stronger for me personally, if only because it feels like it's trying to balance not as much. So therefore I feel like it feels a bit more cohesive for that reason. But I think, yeah, Revolution, I had fun with it when it came out. I think the prison was a wasted opportunity though. Atomai says, I want a 3 to 5 year ref with a complete reinvention like RTD after the 60th. Yeah, I think that might be a good idea. Like, the weird thing about people speculating about the 60th is that a 60th anniversary isn't even that big of an anniversary normally. So, I mean, I think we probably will get a multi-doctor thing. But it's just interesting how people have, like, taken that and been like, yeah, 60th will definitely be something. It's like, we don't really know. It could just be nothing. It could just be another year. I think where a lot of the speculation has come in is that what we could be in now, Series 13 could very much be the Season 20 of New Who, where it's all, like, old stuff leading up to the big anniversary. That could very well be the case. And I'm going to be honest, I'm not keen on that idea because I really want them to get, like, some good new ideas in, but yeah. I'm back from editing my Rose review / podcast. I recorded it with a friend and it will be up on Friday. Well, there you go, folks. Go check out Clack of the Geeks a podcast when that drops. I'll be sure to give it a look. Nick Briggs should be showrunner and bring his Big Finish writers over. I mean, look, I wouldn't say no to Nick Briggs being showrunner, and then I can clickbait the podcast saying that I got to talk with the showrunner before he became it. But I think Nick Briggs has got a lot of it on his plate as it is. He's very involved with Big Finish. He voices like 90% of the Doctor's Rogues gallery. He's got a lot on his plate as it is, so I can't see him taking on the showrunner position as well. I think it was on the One Show or on Radio 2, someone definitely said that the New Year special was going to answer the question of why the Daleks are always here and still keep coming back. and going to delve into the genetics of why. Oh, okay, interesting. I never saw that, and obviously I don't think it ever happened, so maybe it was a red herring or a misdirection. The thing is with certain YouTubers, XD Gamer, is their whole brand is being cancelable. They play to the people who feel the same way they do, so therefore they're not going to get cancelled by their own audiences. And that's why people like, say for example, Piers Morgan, who got fired from Good Morning Britain recently, will always have an audience because there are people who think what he says is correct, and therefore he is kind of uncancelable because there'll always be someone who will want to watch what he has to say. It's just how it goes. In fairness, with their anniversaries, even the Wilderness years, we had some kind of story, so I believe we'll get something. I agree with you, even if it's not as big as a 50th. Yeah, no, I definitely think you are right. We'll get something. I just think that it's interesting how everyone's manifested this idea that the 60th will have the 8th Doctor, and the 9th Doctor, and the 10th Doctor, and the 11th Doctor, and the 12th Doctor, and the 13th Doctor, and Ruth's going to be there. And I'm just like, yeah, that could happen, but like the chances of that are quite slim. Like, I saw someone... No, actually, I tweeted it a while back, and I mentioned this on the last live stream as well, that... you know, I've got this horrible premonition that it's going to be the 10th Doctor and the 13th Doctor, because that's all it's been in the multimedia stuff, in like the magazines, in like things like Build-A-Bear for a while. They did add the 11th Doctor in later on, but that for a while was just the 10 and 13th. Edge of Reality is 10 and 13th. It's a lot of 10 and 13th stuff, so I've got a really horrible feeling that it's just going to be them. I don't think it, like, will, but I've just got a horrible premonition that that could happen. We need Nicholas Briggs' 9th Doctor to make a TV appearance. I agree. Can we get a hashtag going? What would we call it? Hashtag Briggs for 9. There we go. Or hashtag, yeah, we'll go for Briggs for 9. 8 for the 60th, are we right? Yeah, it's always perplexed me why they didn't like get him in the 50th. Like, he's literally in the other room recording Night of the Doctor. Why? Why couldn't he have not been in it? Thing is, I don't think it'll get permanently cancelled. I think a hiatus would probably be kind of like what we had prior to the main cancellation of Classic Who with Colin, where it was like, it'll probably be longer than 18 months. But like, I don't think it will ever be outright cancelled because, as I said, even though it's not, I think it's past its peak of New Who, because the peak, I don't think it's ever going to get to the peak of like David Tennant again, because the world's just a different place since that happened. But I think like it's certainly still in a lot better of a place in terms of, you know, the BBC's feeling on it than something like, I don't know, the 80s, for example, the late 80s, where it was basically just the corporation was just trying to find any way they could to get rid of it. Just 10 and 13, but they're the worst New Who. They're the two worst New Who Doctors. Yeah, that's kind of the thing for me as well. Is that those kind of are my least favourite New Who Doctors. You know, as I said, for a lot of people, and for myself included, 10 used to be my favourite. But as over time, he's just gone down in my estimations little bit by little bit over time. He's still great. But yeah, I think a Doctor can have a really good run but not be the best Doctor, but then a Doctor can have a really bad run and be like considered a really good Doctor. So for example with 10, a lot of his stories are really good, but I think for me his Doctor isn't that unique, whereas you'll have a Doctor like, say, well, for me personally, 11, but a lot of people's answer to this would be 12. Where it's like, some of their stories aren't great, but the character and the idea of the character and the performance is really strong, so therefore they're a great Doctor because of that. Colin, prior to Big Finish, would be another example where the actor's great, and people like Colin, but they just don't like the stories that he's in. I don't like that they announced when Doctor Who and it's just David Tennant and it's not related to Doctor Who. Yeah, the Time Lord Victoria... Anyone ever noticed that Time Lord Victoria's just sort of faded out of existence over time? Like, it's not even wrapped up yet, I don't think, and people just sort of forgot that it exists. It was a really weird I think, like, my thing was, I've said this before with Time Lord Victorious, when it was announced, I was really intrigued. I was like, oh, that's a really cool idea, exploring, you know, what could have happened if the Doctor had chosen that dark path. That's a really cool idea. That's some turn left style stuff, which is one of my favourite episodes of the revival. And then they announced that it was a multimedia thing, and I was like, oh. And then my interest just sort of went away. Difference now, when compared to the 80s, is the BBC recognised the monetary value of Doctor Who. Yeah, that's the thing. So even if Doctor Who goes away in some capacity, I don't think it will ever go away, to the point where there's just nothing. I think you'll always have something. I hate how David Tennant keeps being used for all the new merch and recent merchandise. Like, come on, give another Doctor a chance and space in the spotlight. I agree. I think it's kind of a shame that they just don't seem to utilise a lot of the other Doctors. Like, they're missing out so much. It just seems to be a lot of RTD stuff. Like, that's what that little joke video, the Doctor Who marketing strategy, that's why I did that little short, just to take the mick a bit, because it seems to me that they are just milking the RTD era for all it's worth. And yeah, it would just not be nice to see some love for the other periods of the show, like, especially for me, I guess. Especially considering when you look at when the season 24 specifically Blu-ray was announced, that was trending, at least in the UK, maybe globally. Like that on Twitter, it was trending. So that shows that there is a demand for other Doctors outside of, Tennant and Whittaker. Oh, is that what it was, Atomized? I didn't know that. I didn't know COVID even had an effect on Time Lord Victorious. Capaldi is underrated. I'd love for him to return. Well, I missed that. Capaldi is underrated. I'd love for him to return. I think the BBC didn't exactly know what to do with the Time Lord Victorious. Yeah, I agree with that. With Capaldi, I think, same with Smith as well, I'd love to see them both on Big Finish. Because even though, like, I struggle sometimes with Big Finish, I would listen to Capaldi Big Finish because I feel like they do a better job than sometimes the TV writers did, personally. I think they might be able to pull off a Sixth Doctor type thing. And same with 11 as well. 11 sort of has gone down in people's estimations in recent years due to some of the things he said towards the tail end of his run and some of the things he did towards the tail end of his run. So it'd be really nice to see Big Finish basically just rectify all that. I randomly came across this. I don't even watch Doctor Who. Well, thank you for coming in anyway. Thank you a lot for at least coming and say hello. Hi, Missy12. How are you doing? But yeah, it's interesting that, like, delays in terms of COVID had, like, an effect. That would explain why it just sort of faded out of existence, because for a while, at least on, like, the Doctor Who social media pages, it was everywhere. It was absolutely everywhere. Time Lord Victorious, you couldn't escape Time Lord Victorious. Whereas, like, now, I just never hear about it. Oh, that was another thing I wanted to talk about as well, while I'm on that topic. So, let me see if I can get the tweet up. Right, see you, man. Thanks for stopping by, anyway. Right, let me see if I can get the tweet up. So, by the way, this is a good opportunity to say, if you don't already follow me on Twitter, please do that. And you are on Twitter, at ThariusYT. Oh, also, happy birthday to Martha Jones, Freema Regimen. I think she would be served really well, potentially by Big Finish, or maybe, like, a spin-off, because I think she would really blossom outside of the romance angle. There's a thing for World Happiness Day. I didn't even know it was World Happiness Day. Happy World Happiness Day. There we go. Right. So, this is funny to me, because, and Channel Pup summarised this in a tweet, but I'll read the original tweet to you. Daleks reign supreme. The Time Lord Victorious animation Daleks is a finalist in the Shorty Awards for Best Use of Animation. And what's hilarious about that to me is that when Daleks came out, the only thing people ever kept saying was how bad the animation was. And Channel Pup did a tweet. I'll see if I can find that. If if I duplicate the tab, see, like, I'm getting good at this now. I'm a streamer. No, right. Let me do channel perp. There we go. And wait, let me see if I can find it. It's almost there now. There we go. The fact that the Daleks got a nomination for animation just goes to show that the BBC can get awards for just showing up. And that's something I agree with. That's something I was trying to get across when we were talking about what was it called? The Radio Times, the Best Sci-Fi Award? Like, it feels like the BBC can just show up and be like, yeah, here's the award. Because, I'll be honest, like, even though a lot of people will say, well, you know, the Daleks didn't have the biggest budget, and that's fair enough, but, like, even on an animation level, there was things that were, like, there was clipping, and there was stuff like that, things that anyone who's ever done animation before will tell you is not something that should happen, even if you're on a lower budget. So the fact that they got nominated and are finalists for an award for that is kind of saying a lot. No, I absolutely agree with you, XD Gamer. Like, I think it keeps blocking your messages for some reason, and I don't know why. But, yeah, no, I agree with you. The Daleks, the effects just weren't good. I lasted about 2 episodes of Daleks before I sort of gave up, because it was just too jarring to me. Time Fracture was meant to be released last year at the height of TLV, but it was also delayed. That makes sense, because I don't know why they would announce an interactive thing where you've got to go to it at the height of a pandemic. Like, maybe they just didn't know, but, like, surely you'd hold off on announcing that, you know, until, like, the pandemic's over, but, you know. I'd like Ralph Little to be the Doctor. I think he'd make a good Doctor. The only thing I've seen him in is the Royal Family. Not as in the Royal Family, but the Royal Family, like the comedy show. And he's funny in that. I can't see him as the Doctor myself, but maybe he'd be good. They only started Daleks at the beginning of the pandemic. Okay, that makes sense. Doctor Who getting nominated for everything nowadays is just because it's a big franchise. Yeah, that might have something to do with it. Daleks was epic. Yeah, that's fair enough. I've heard the story was good. It's just the animation for me that was just a bit jarring. But it was cool seeing the mechanoids again and stuff like that. I think I'd really like a new TARDIS interior sooner rather than later. I'm really not a big fan of the TARDIS interior. Literally just Sam says, I'm currently working on a low budget animation, and budget means nothing if you know what you're doing personally. Not saying that I know what I'm doing, but I've seen worse animation than Daleks. That's fair enough. I just think that, like, for an officially licensed thing going up on the official, like, Doctor Who, like, social media platforms, it just kind of looked a bit weak. Yeah. But, Darkney has appeared on Comic Relief yesterday. Yeah, the clip is up on the channel if you haven't already seen it. And as I said, I just wish Doctor Who had a bit more of a presence at these things. Like, I'm not saying for them to have, like, an entire segment dedicated to it, but, like, you know, just a couple minutes would be something. I think the BBC was still hoping COVID would be all over by the summer. It's called... Yeah, that's true. Yeah, that is true. Tory bias. Yeah. Yeah, I think a lot of people were hoping it was going to be done by, like, last summer, and it just didn't happen. I mean, this summer's looking a bit better, though. The 2018 TARDIS looks so bad. People are making theories about the TARDIS dying. Yeah, I saw Confused Adipose video on that. I don't know whether he's still in chat. He probably isn't. But I saw his video on that, and, like, they said that, like, one of the justifications for it was that, like, you know, Jodie's TARDIS looks like it's on the blink, which kind of says a lot about the design of that interior, that's what people are speculating, that, you know, the TARDIS is faulty because of the design. Yeah, no, so I would really like, I think, honestly, like, if the next TARDIS interior was just Ruth's, I'd be more than happy with that, to be honest with you. I would like to see Plank of Wood as the next Doctor. Yeah, no, the acting, like, some of the actors, like Bradley Walsh, I think Bradley Walsh is going to be missed because he did bring, like, the most character to it. I think with Jodie, I think she could be good. She's just not got the presence for the Doctor for me personally. And that's something I realised when I saw the Roof Doctor on screen, was, damn, she's really got the presence, and you feel instantly gravitated towards her, and you just don't get that same vibe with Jodie. And if that was written as part of, like, the character's narrative, it's like a character development, maybe she's a bit more nervous starting out or something like that, that'd be a different story. But if that's just how she is, I want to see more TARDIS rooms. I agree. It's kind of weird that it took the series to, like, put a corridor in there, because I always used to just imagine that because we didn't see any of, like, the other rooms in the Jodie TARDIS in Series 11, I just imagined Graham sleeping on the floor. Dan has epilepsy. Hi, Jay. Is it just me, or do the sonic crystals look like fingers? Yeah, I always thought they looked like piss kryptonite. Kryptonite from Superman. Imagine that, but it's, wee kryptonite. That is what it looks like. I was surprised to see you in here, Jay. How are you doing? By the way, speaking of Jay, see, the podcast that we did got to 1,000 views, so that was cool. The current TARDIS should be a paradox. 13 returns to the planet from the Ghost Monument, and it starts to be all glitchy and stuff. Yeah, I'd be down for that. I think a TARDIS, putting the TARDIS more into, like, the show in general, I'd be really down for. Because the TARDIS has always been one of my favourite elements of Doctor Who. So, yeah, to have that be something that is featured more, I'd be totally down for. Absolutely. 100%. Legacy Who, I would definitely like to see Eddie Redmayne as the Doctor. See, I think the thing with Eddie Redmayne is he would just be too similar to Matt Smith. Like, that's the problem, like, for me, is that, like, if you watch his Mr. Beast, Fantastic Beast, I'm thinking of the YouTuber, Fantastic Beast, he's literally just the 11th Doctor. And that's all there is. And I think that, for me, it would just be a little bit too derivative, personally. But, I mean, maybe if you could bring something different to it, then fair enough. But, like, yeah, I don't want him to be too similar to Matt Smith. The BBC said that 13th Doctor would not cry. Damn, do they even know what character development is? Yeah, I think there's this weird, like, misconception for, like, in, like, TV, in order for female characters to be strong, they have to constantly be strong and never be vulnerable at any point. And that's really not the case. Like, I think the best, like, characters are the ones that are vulnerable and, do show weakness. So I think to have that mindset of, yeah, no weakness for you, is kind of not the best idea. Joanna Lumley or Charles Dance, this is non-negotiable. Joanna Lumley would be great. She is getting on a bit now. How old is she? Let's have a look, actually. How old is Joanna Lumley these days? I say these days like she's going anywhere. She's not, or at least I hope she isn't. Joanna Lumley. How old is Joanna Lumley? She's 74. Is it bad that I thought she was older than that? Is that a bad thing? I don't know. Probably is. But yeah, I genuinely thought she was older than that. And black and white Doctor Who looks awesome. Yeah, I'd love for them to do, like, I thought about this when WandaVision was coming out. Imagine a Doctor Who series that is just WandaVision, and every episode they go to, like, a different era of Doctor Who. So in, like, the first episode and the second episode, it would be the 60s. Like, the first episode would be, like, the 60s. The Hartnell episode, it'd probably be, like, a historical or something. And they'd all be in, like, period costume and stuff. And then in, like, the second episode, it would be a Base Under Siege Troughton-style story. In the third episode, you get, like, a 70s-style unit story. It would just be really cool. And then you could have, like, an alien be controlling it the whole time. That'd be really cool. It would basically just be ripping off WandaVision. I think that'd be a really cool idea for a Doctor Who series. I was late, yeah. No, yeah, I just looked it up as you were typing in your response there, Jay. Imagine making Emma Watson the 14th Doctor and J.K. Wait, when you say J.K., do you mean J.K. Rowling? Selling tomatoes outside of Morrison's. that would be a very weird and bizarre series of Doctor Who that I never want to see. Because anything involving JK, I do not want anything to do with, ever again. Someone said earlier, just make Jay and Stu Bagfull run the show already. I agree, as long as I get to be involved in some capacity. Just make Curse of Fatal Death canon already. I mean, doesn't the Timeless Child kind of do that, though? Like, you can make that canon if you want now, I guess. I mean, it's not officially, like, designated canon, but, I mean, if you want to make it canon, then, yeah, you can, I guess, now. Look, I don't think the show should be cancelled, but I do think it needs a restart or a reboot. Yeah, I've got a video idea, at least, and it's why I tweeted out about a reboot, like, going back a couple of months ago now, about like how I would basically reinvent the franchise, and I really want to make that a video. But I'd like to have like there's this video that I saw that's a similar concept, but it's with Sonic the Hedgehog, and it's got like this really cool artwork of like what they're describing. It looks really cool, and I'd have to get someone who could do like really good drawings in order to make that video a reality. Yeah, the thing with a reboot is like, as long as the thing is with reboots is, I think reboots a dirty word. As long as they don't, I think a reboot can be done well, provided you don't just change stuff for the sake of changing stuff. I think that was like one of the problems with the movie, is that like there was really no reason to make the Doctor half human. They just did it because. Wait, does that mean DW 2012 is canon? I mean, yeah, technically, if you want those fan films to be canon, they can be canon now. I guess that's like the one upside to the Timeless Child, right? Is that you can do that. Curse of Fatal Death is canon in my head canon. Best Moffat story. I don't think I'd go as far to call it the best Moffat story, but I mean, I certainly do enjoy Curse of Fatal Death quite a bit. I love the sort of grey and blue design of the 2013 season. That's interesting because a lot of people prefer the grey and orange of the Capaldi TARDIS, so that's interesting. I do like the blue, but I will say I side with most people. I think the thing that sets off the Capaldi design for me is like the books and stuff. Like when it's got the books and it looks really homely, I think that's what makes that TARDIS for me. That just makes that TARDIS sing. Make Jonathan Pryce's master canon. Which master was that? Oh, is that the one from Curse of Fatal Death? Yeah, I actually really enjoy Jonathan Pryce's performance in that. It's really good. Exci says they had reasons planned for him to be half human, I think. They just never got to do them. Oh yeah, no, there wasn't there? You are right. There was, yeah, it was going to be Ulysses was his dad, and his mum was going to be from Earth, and they met and, like, had baby Doctor. Yeah, I think that was originally meant to be the plan. But as it stands, it's kind of just there in the final film. I actually feel the Sontarans in Series 13 being oversized potatoes, not Sontarans. Unfortunately for that I actually feel that the Sontarans in Series 13 oversized potatoes, not Sontarans. Unfortunately for that to be true, Ed Heim needs to write Orphan 55 Part 2. I don't know what any of that means, but yes. Yay, my audio series can be canon if I really think it to be. Yeah, exactly. I guess that's like one perk to the Timeless Child. Theories, I was watching the tail end of the last stream, but I wasn't able to comment. I agree on 7B. I think 7 is one of my favourite series. I just think 7B gets unfairly shafted, basically. You can see loads of this stuff in Paul's audition tape. Yeah, no, it's all in his audition tape where he's holding like the scroll. Is it a scroll? Like a scroll or something. In fact, it's like a scroll, and it like says you are destined for. I don't know what they say, but yeah, it's the scroll of like Rassilon, I think, or something. The grey and blue wasn't just limited to the TARDIS, but the look and atmosphere during the season. Take the Bells of St. John. Yeah, I do like that colour palette, to be fair. So yeah, I wouldn't mind seeing that come back. Does the twist mean I can be canon? Yes, anyone can be canon. Yeah, I'll just... Ed Heim is really hit or miss. Liked It Takes You Away. I don't like It Takes You Away. I think it conceptually is good. I just don't think the execution is there. No, I am the Doctor and so is my wife. JXE, Lungbarrow actually tackles that, I think. I know it does the other, but the reason why that stuff goes on is to do with it half-human. The only problem with Season 7 BIMO was the bad pacing and iffy character development of Clara. That's fair. It's entertaining. At worst, it's forgettable. Yeah, I just don't think it deserves to be called, like, the worst. I think there are, like, a lot worse things. You know, New Who... I think there's a lot worse parts of New Who for me, personally. Yeah. But yeah, no, with the movie thing, like, I'd love to see someone, like, adapt the Leakley Bible, maybe into, like, a, not a full-on, like, live-action thing, but maybe, like, a sort of quasi-animated type thing, just because I'd be really curious to see it. Like, I wouldn't ever want it to be considered canon, but I just, you know, whatever canon is, but, like, I just think it'd be interesting to see, like, what could have been, you know? Like, part of me wonders if, like, if we had the ability to go to different, like, timelines, it'd be really interesting to go to the timeline where that is canon, and that is, like, what happened, and that did get greenlit, and see, like, what it was like. What I'm trying to convey is that that I dislike the current orange and black design. It just doesn't fit. That's fair enough. That's a point, actually. Genuinely forgot Clara's in that series. I've got the controversial opinion with Clara that I genuinely prefer her in 7B than I do to the rest of it, because I think at least she's likable in Series 7B. In the rest of it, I just find her a really unwelcoming and sort of irritating presence. It takes you away, has cool ideas then, and throws them away into an absolutely nonsense plot, and has an irrelevant 10-minute run around and jammed in the middle. Yeah, I don't know whether you saw this, but I think it was in, like, one of the annuals or something. They had, like, there was meant to be a monster in it, a proper monster that was meant to be in it, that was, like, really big and massive. I'll see if I can find it. I've just got Joanna Lumley on my screen. It takes you away. Doctor Who villain concept, maybe. Concept, something like that. If I go images, I don't know whether it'll show it to me or not, but there was meant to be, like, this big massive thing. If anyone has got, like, a link to an image or something, maybe DM it to me. Post-episode discussion thread. I don't know where it is, but there was basically meant to be this giant thing that was meant to be in the episode that was cut out for some reason. As I'm in this live stream, I called the local council to ask about their plans to prevent Dalek attack. They said steps have been put in place by Chivalry firing on the show's canon. Fair enough. Hey, Kadu Lopes, am I saying that right? I hope I am. JK might be short after the word joke. We need real defense drones at work, in our jobs and in our borders. It's the second image. Wait, which image? Shoot. Wait, what image was it? Ah, there it is. Thank you, Jay. I didn't notice that. I was scrolling by so quickly. Yeah, that was meant to be, and it takes you away. This thing, let me just see if I can get it in this was meant to be, and it takes you away. And that looks awesome. Like, I can imagine that being a really cool... I mean, it does sort of look like a bit like, you know, an anteater and the trickster from Sarah Jane Adventures had a baby. But, I don't know. I just think, like, look at the size of it as well. That would just have been, like, so scary if it was lit well as well. But they just dropped it. Do we actually know what the reason for that was? Funny seeing you... Oh, God! My search history. I hope there's nothing too bad on there. I haven't been able to check. Well, we're never going on Google again. My Clara headcanon is that the reason for her inconsistency is she's actually a different version that's been scattered across each episode, and that makes sense. I mean, again, that takes a lot of fixing on your part, I guess. Do you think you could buy me the 12 Dr. Second Sonic Screwdriver? If I had any money myself, yes, but like I do not. Which is a good time to say, if you want to see these sunglasses, if you want me to wear these for the rest of it, just give me 10 quid and I'll do it. Because, yeah, I'm not doing it without some form of compensation. Multicolored lights on the top of the TARDIS would be a massive upgrade, and a glass roof interior with marine surrounding awesome. Ooh. Harry's buy. Why am I just getting asked to buy? Why do you all think I have money? I don't have any money. The Antizone and the Solid Tract were, in terms of a story, completely separate and could have split into separate episodes. I mean, yeah, maybe it could have been a two-parter. That'd been interesting. Favourite classic Doctor. This fluctuates quite a bit, but right now it may well be 7. I've just really been getting into 7 recently. I think the Sophie Aldred podcast really just ignited my love for the 7th Doctor. Whatever you do, don't look at my browser history. Yeah, they really ran that joke into the ground, didn't they? Like, I'm glad that that joke's gone, but then now, like, at the same time, I think we've got even more boomery jokes in the Chibnall era with the whole, the Wi-Fi's gone off. What? I guess we'll have to have a conversation. It's just, who's the trickster? Basically, Kadu, the trickster was a Sarah Jane Adventures villain, and Sarah Jane Adventures was a spin-off with Sarah Jane as the lead. And yeah, he was basically like the coolest villain in that show. I just hope they have a main companion that isn't human. Ooh. I just hope they have a main companion that isn't human. Okay, we've got a special guest, everyone. I'm bringing on Exci. I'll see if she doesn't answer now, then this will look very awkward. Hello? Wait, can you hear me all right? Oh, hello.
Yeah, I can now. Hello.
Yay, hello. Welcome to the stream, Jay.
I'm on the stream now.
Yes, you came in the chat and now you're on the stream. I was just like, you know what? It might be nice if I have someone to talk to for a little while. So I was like, hey, do you
we all feel that way sometimes.
Yeah, I'm just lonely. I'm just crippling loneliness. Yeah, the trickster is from Sarah Jane Adventures. What are your opinions of the trickster, Jay?
I like the trickster a lot. He resulted in some of the best Sarah Jane Adventures stories. The Sarah Jane Adventures is a weird one.
Yeah.
Like,
I have a lot
the
of
Sarah Jane
nostalgia for it
Adventures would
personally.
do like... Yeah, so do I. But it's so weird how it would like... One week be like, hey, look at the aliens, they're farting and chasing people. And then the next week it would be like, here's a story where we've got to explain to a woman why her life is less valuable than Sarah's.
Yeah.
But while giving that concept like the actual nuance it deserves.
But you know what though, like, I respect how much respect RTD gave to kids. Because I think so many shows just like talk down to kids. Sarah Jane was one of the ones that was like, no, kids can get this. And like, I think I really respected it for that.
Yeah. It's just weird when Sarah Jane Adventures would come out with the occasion, oh shit, gut punch.
Yeah. No, exactly. I think like RTD was really good like that though, where he knew that you didn't have to dumb it down completely for kids. I think that's, you know, obviously we talk about the new era a lot, but I think that's one of the issues that a lot of people have for it, is it does feel like it's being deliberately dumbed down for children. And I think Sarah Jane, if it proves anything, it proves that you don't necessarily need to do that in order for it to work, basically.
Well, yeah, I mean, I think kids standards are different, but not low. Well, I guess kids do sort of have lower standards. I definitely did when I was a kid.
Yeah.
But like, the standards that kids have isn't that it doesn't have anything for adults in it. Like, kids don't care if there's this sort of, you know, philosophical waxing in the background as there's a monster chasing someone through a hallway.
Yeah. But they like the adults in the audience will really appreciate it, which is why I think like RTD, who was as successful as it was. Yes,
kids don't need something to not be smart.
Yeah, and I think at the same time as well, like Sarah Jane does a very good job of like teaching like kids, I guess, lessons about stuff. Like, there's a whole bit in, like, the Slitheen bit where, like, they're trying to figure out what, obviously, the Slitheen's weak to. And I think they talk about, like, a certain type of acid, which I'm pretty sure came back up again in science, like, when I was in high school. So, but it never felt like I was being like, right, this is a thing that you need to learn. It was just something that was part of the story, you know? And I think that was, like, a really effective way of getting information across as well.
Well, they do that a lot. I mean, Doctor Who does that as well. I don't know if Torchwood did that, to be fair.
Yeah.
But, like, that is a thing. I know my dad has a story like that where he got, like, questions in his school science classes right because of stuff that happened in Legopolis.
Yeah. No, it's that's really cool. Oh yeah, someone just reminded me that the thing the Trickster's from is called the Pantheon of Discord, which I just thought, in like modern context is so strange to say. But I love
That's a good name for a podcast.
The Pantheon. That is a really good name. I wouldn't be surprised if someone takes it now as a result of people finding this out.
Oh, let's see. I'm gonna search it.
Yeah, have a look.
How do you spell Pantheon?
Is it just Pan and then
Pantheon of Discord? Let's see. No, it's not. It's not. No one's taken it and turned it into something yet. You get clips of the Trickster first.
We need something. We need to do something with that. I don't know what I'll do with that. Maybe I'll do something with it. I better do it before time runs out. Shame I've already got a podcast, which is a lot more.
Make another one.
Just make two.
Just make more.
Podcast. It's like the other one, but different. It's like in the SpongeBob movie where they make Krusty Krab 2. And it's just
it's right next to the first one.
It's exactly the same. It's just yes. What inspired you to make another one? Money. Oh my god. Obviously, yeah, Bradley Walsh did play the clown in Sarah Jane Adventures. Fun fact, that was the thing that gave me my fear of clowns. So, yeah, thanks Sarah Jane Adventures for the nightmares. It was so funny to me later on when I found out it was Bradley Walsh. Like, that's just so weird to me, to think that he was the one who did that.
I always found the Sarah Jane scary episodes way scarier than the ones in Doctor Who, which was strange because it was for kids. There was also the one, what was it called? Like the Destiny Trap?
Destiny Trap. I'm trying to... What was it about?
There was like an old man in a mansion, and it was like a ghost story with a sci-fi explanation.
Okay.
Let's see. What did I just say it was called? I've forgotten it. It's gone from my brain.
It's gone.
The Destiny Trap.
Yeah, there we go. But there was one as well, wasn't there? Where
the Eternity Trap.
Okay. There was one as well while you're doing that where they get sent back in time, don't they? And Clyde gets sent back to Nazi Germany.
He does. Holds his own. That's a good one. I think I remember it being.
I just love that they had the balls to do that on a kids show as well.
Yeah, I mean, when I was watching that as a kid, I didn't really understand the gravity of that situation.
Yeah. But when you look back at it now, it's like, damn, they really did just take a kid to Nazi Germany. Damn. Yeah, no, it's weird because like even in the main show, like when they did it in the Matt Smith era, they just sort of glossed over it. In Let's Kill Hitler, it's more just the setting for like the law stuff that they reveal in that episode.
Well, yeah, Let's Kill Hitler is the fugitive of the Jadoon of that era.
Oh, people are not going to like that because I think the general opinion in Fugitive of the Jadoon is a lot warmer than that of Let's Kill Hitler. But I do agree that it is basically just set up the episode. You know,
I think I'd probably agree that that Let's Kill Hitler is more piss.
Yeah.
Piss being the adjective of choice. Yeah. That's not to say that Fugitive is not in any way piss. Fugitive has got a lot of piss.
It's just less quantities of piss. Just slightly less quantities.
Yeah.
Of piss. It's like the difference between a toilet. It's like a toilet cubicle that's been used by like 50 people and a toilet cubicle used by 30 people. You know, it's still
Yeah, I mean, well,
like, it's still a lot of piss, but there's just
what-
slightly less.
Let's Kill Hitler makes a mistake that Fugitive doesn't, I think, which is Fugitive has the very simple premise it needs to then do something else that you weren't expecting. Like that premise was originally used for Smith and Jones, which actually wasn't about the aliens at all. It was about getting to know Martha.
Yeah.
Because it is a really basic premise.
Because, like, they are just... There's a space police, so you can sort of use them as a means to introduce new stuff. I think the difference with Smith and Jones, though, is that what it introduces is, like, actually a new thing, and doesn't rely on your past engagement with things. And it's a great showcase for Martha Jones as well, because she's in, like, you know, a hospital and she's a doctor and all that sort of stuff. Because there's, like, that one line, isn't there, in Smith and Jones, where it's like, she says something to the effect of, oh yeah, the air hasn't got sucked out yet, though. So that must mean that we've got some sort of air bubble around us. And the doctor's like, oh, well done, that was really clever. It's little things like that that it makes sense why the Jadoon are there and why it's on the moon. Whereas with Fugitive, the Jadoon are just there because it's Jadoon. I mean, I guess as well because like they're looking for a fugitive, which kind of makes sense, but...
Well, it does. I honestly, I do think that Jadoon are the right choice for the story.
They make sense.
Actually, not after the reveal that it's are we allowed to do series 12 spoilers on here? I assume.
Yeah, it's been like a year now. So if you haven't seen
after the reveal that it's Time Lords, it sort of goes, are the Time Lords hiring Jadoon? I'm skeptical.
Yeah, I feel like they'd be able to do it themselves.
Yeah. I mean, you know, give me a little time scoop action.
Yeah, because they do that in, like, Genesis, don't they? They just sort of take him out of, like, his place in time. Someone says to answer my question, alright, I'll get to it. Don't worry. It's explain to me who the Androvax and the Veil... That's the, Androvax is the yellow thing, right? Am I right?
Androvax... I mean, I would call that shade green, but I think we're talking about the same thing.
It's like the one with the big tongue. That sort of...
Yeah, that's him.
Yeah, that looks like a lizard dude. Yeah. Someone just says, hello, love. Hello, Stormageddon Bob. Thank you. What about the Saranga Conundrum? The Saranga Conundrum is a conundrum. No, it's just a bit naff, isn't it, the Saranga Conundrum?
The Saranga Conundrum is one of the episodes that it surprises me most when people say, yeah, this is great. Yeah. I'm like I'm just surprised. I'm like, what about it do you like? That's a genuine question. Like, you know, not trying to be rude. I don't understand.
No, I don't.
I genuinely don't understand.
I feel the same way about, like, Battle Around Skorav Kolos as well. It's like, what happens in it that is enough for you to be like, yeah, it's good, especially for a finale as well.
Everything that happens in Battle of Ranskorev Kolos makes it worse.
Yeah, I agree. I think the thing is, though, like, the idea of, like, a companion wanting to, like, go rogue and stuff, that in itself is a really cool idea. They just do not do anything with it. And it's just...
Well, plus they'd sort of... they'd sort of done this whole thing where they wanted the companions to be essentially good Boy Scouts for the whole season, and then this suddenly came out of nowhere at the last minute in terms of things that you have and haven't seen him, like, be willing to do. Like, of course, you know, he's mourning Grace, so you understand what the motivation is supposed to be.
Yeah.
But, like, right from the last time we saw him do, like, something independent and sort of a bit more dangerous like that was in the Ghost Monument, where Ryan picks up a gun. He's not even doing it. You know, Ryan picks up a gun and he's in support of that decision. And then right after that, the doctor's like, nah. And they're like, yeah, okay, you're right. Yeah. And then it doesn't come up again, you know. I would love to see...
I was thinking you said in the chat, the Pating's in it, of course it's great. I mean, I can't really argue with the logic. The Pating is funny in an ironic way. That's fair enough.
There's loads of stuff in early Chibnall episodes that could lead to way cooler arcs than anything he actually did. Like when Ryan goes and shoots all the robots, like in the Ghost Monument. What if he had actually, like, been successful and had started to butt heads with the Doctor because he's learned, like, yeah, I don't have to listen to you. You don't really know what you're talking about.
Yeah, that'd be good. I think I've always just wanted to have a story where, like, the companion, goes, you know what? Fuck you, you're wrong. Like, the closest we've got to that is probably, like, Dark Water, where, like, Clara's, like, throwing the keys away and stuff. But, like, even then, I think, like, there's a lot more mileage in that idea. So I'd love that. Like, imagine if that was a series-long arc, like, the companion just getting progressively more done to the point where, because as well, like, they know all the Doctor's tricks, because the Doctor has to trust a companion with all their, like, secrets, and they're giving them, like, a TARDIS key and all that. So it would kind of be like, I guess the only thing I can liken it to, even though we've not seen the resolution of it, would be like Evil Morty in Rick and Morty, where it's like, he knows all of Rick's, like, things, you know what I mean? It's that similar sort of, like, dynamic.
And I mean, I would be into seeing that, of course. Like, I mean, it does feel like a lot of squished potential. Like, stuff getting swept. It almost feels like stuff is swept under the rug if it's too interesting.
Yeah.
Like, the moment. My favorite moment of this is in the Ghost Monument again, where I guess Woman Who Fell to Earth Ghost Monument cliffhanger, where the Doctor accidentally teleports all of them into deep space, and then they have to get rescued by someone else, which is completely out of the Doctor's control. Yeah. And then none of them ever mention it again, and it's never brought up. It's like, that could literally give someone PTSD. Like, I would be surprised if it didn't give any of them PTSD. And then imagine the guilt that the Doctor would have to deal with seeing one of her companions exhibit PTSD symptoms for the rest of the time they're together.
Yeah,
that's an arc. Or even that's like an arc.
Or even like in the episode later, where the Doctor's failure to get them to where they want to go literally results in them in Ryan being like racially abused, and like no one has an issue with it. It's like, wait, if we weren't with you, we wouldn't be in this situation. No one ever stops to be like, yeah, maybe that is messed up.
The Doctor is never held responsible for her actions in this era. Doesn't happen.
And I think it's like, it needs to happen. It goes back to what I was saying a bit earlier on in this stream, where someone said that, like, apparently one of the interviews when they were sorting out, like, they were talking about the 13th Doctor before she came out in Series 11 was, she never cries. And I'm like, but it's good to have a character be vulnerable, though. It's good to have them make mistakes. That's the point. Put them through some stuff, you know?
Yeah, although, I mean, there are plenty of Doctors who didn't ever cry on screen, mainly all classic ones. But then it does sort of make the moments of vulnerability more... It makes them hit harder when you've got a character who likes to put on a brave face all the time.
Yeah. I guess it's just the sentiment of, like, this character cannot emote or feel sad. It's just, no, that's not what you should be going at this with, you know? Saying
the character never cries like it's a good thing, inherently, that's where I think they're tripping up. Because, you can do that.
Yeah, you can cry, and I think it's a good thing.
Yeah, I mean, you know, you sort of see these standards that used to get applied to men across the board in a sort of toxic way of, you know, boys don't cry sort of shit. You sort of see that getting applied to women in media now in a similar toxic way, I think, of showing weakness is a problem for these characters because, weakness being seen as the opposite of strength. So if a character shows weakness, they're not strong. But no, that's not how it be at all. Overcoming weakness can be a sign of strength, you know? And overcoming weakness doesn't mean it's not there.
Someone says, "Stop ignoring me, I'm starting to cry." I'm sorry, there's like 30 people watching. I can't respond to everyone all the time. Who's Mr. Dead? I can't remember who Mr. I think they're like the Men in Black cop people from like one Sarah Jane episode. I think, maybe. I don't know.
I'm shocked that you remember that, because I think you might be right, but I would never have been able to tell anyone that.
You heard it here first, folks. Darius is the smartest man in the world. It's canonical now. You have to abide by that. Sometimes the TARDIS can materialize around someone, so they appear in the TARDIS. Yeah, it's funny you mentioned that. I ended up watching a clip from Dr. Mysterio earlier today. Do you know the one you know Doctor Mysterio, like the superhero one, Jay. And
Yeah.
there's like one scene where the Doctor's like, you know, he's doing all his "I'm the Doctor" stuff, and he whistles in the TARDIS. It's like he just radiates such Doctor energy in that scene. I love it. Oh my god, I am right.
I mean,
Nathan Mann just checked it. I am right.
I think Peter Capaldi could like radiate raw Doctor energy having a dump. Like,
Yeah.
he's just he. I can't imagine him doing or saying anything where you're not like, yeah,
Yeah,
that's
no,
him.
Well, like the thing is, in that Doctor Mysterio scene that I watched, he was literally carrying a burger around, which with most other doctors would feel really wrong, but for him, he just makes it a doctory thing. It's so weird. Like, imagine just like the first Doctor carrying around a burger. It would just be strange, but like,
Yeah,
he just somehow makes it a doctory thing. It's so weird.
he is the most doesn't give a shit Doctor.
Yeah.
At least in his later seasons,
Yeah.
and I say that like there's more than one later season, but
Yeah.
like he is he very much Doctor Mysterio has, I think, one of my favorite Doctor Who lines in it, just not because it's some amazing line that is the best, you know.
Yeah.
It's just it embodies what I like about the character. And you could picture basically any Doctor saying it past, excluding probably Hartnell, because Hartnell is sort of different to all the rest. He's pre-arc pretty much.
Yeah, he's like the first.
But
he's like the blueprint type thing.
Yeah. But where he's there's the, what is she, a cleaner, I think? I can't remember what the woman there does.
Okay.
But she's
remember.
like snooping around. She's snooping around on the secret meetings, and then she spots him there, and she's like a little bit shocked and gasps, I think. And he just says, "It's okay. He says, "It's okay. I'm an intruder too," while eating like a snack. And that's like, you could see any Doctor just going, "It's okay. I'm an intruder too."
Yeah. Like I've always said, I have like my issues with like the Capaldi like run of the show, but like Capaldi's never been one of them. Like him himself has never been like an issue. It's just like a lot of the stuff around him that I took issue with at the time. I mean, Series 10 like is slowly getting up in my estimations. Like I realized how much I did a tweet about this like the other day, talking about how much fresher it feels comparatively to Series 11, because it changes up the formula and it does something different. And like I think that just really works. You know, yeah.
Series 10 really did try, like, and I don't say that derisively either. Like, you could just tell. Look, effort.
Yeah.
Effort and passion radiate from Series 10, even when it does miss, because it misses a few times.
Yeah, it misses quite to me it misses quite a few times. Like the Monk trilogy, I'm really not like conceptually again, it's a really good idea. Like the idea of like a sort of friendly invasion where they're like, yeah, follow us, like that's quite cool. And the idea of them planting themselves into history, so it's like they've always been there, because there's like a real clever line in like one of the parts where it's like Nardole says something to the effect of, if people don't know anything different, they're never going to like try and campaign for change or something like that, which is a really cool concept for like a Doctor Who story. But it just, again, it's one of those things, it's one of my main bugbears of, like, Doctor Who episodes with, like, really good ideas, is that it just doesn't get fully explored. And the ending is really annoying as well, where it's like, oh, it was Bill's mum that saved us all along. You know?
Yeah, I mean, the monks are a wasted... I mean, well, I guess the idea of a nice, quote-unquote, invasion is kind of wasted on what is essentially the explanation. Yeah, the monks have, like, magic technology that requires someone to be like, yes, please. Whereas the concept of a nice invasion would probably look something more like, you know, there are these aliens, they're just hovering about, they're like, hey, they introduce themselves to the society, and then when the society has a crisis, they're like, oh, we've got a piece of technology that could help with your crisis that you're having at the moment. Yeah. But we don't really want, like, you know, we do have our own society to run, so if you could make it worth our while, maybe.
Yeah. Like a bargain.
What do you want?
Almost.
Or we'd like to to build some outposts on your planet or something like that, you know. That could be real cool, and that could be a really confrontational story as well. Because are they even in the wrong? Probably, but like, everyone is consenting to what they're doing in a real and genuine way of like, yes, they do technically benefit from this.
Yeah. It's kind of like with, again, I keep making Rick and Morty comparisons, but there's an episode of that where it's like, there's like a hive mind that runs this planet, but like, she makes the planet better. Like, she takes people who are like drug dealers, and racists, and all these weird things, and then she makes them like really good people, like scientists and doctors and all this other stuff. So there's like that real moral question where it's like, yeah, what she's doing is technically wrong, but is it for the best? You know, like,
yeah.
So that's.
I love that episode. I have a video about that episode.
Yeah, no, I remember seeing that. Your video on Rick and Morty is really good. Like, I've always wanted to do a comparison between Rick and Morty and Doctor Who, and why, like, Rick and Morty has, like, succeeded where Doctor Who's been failing recently. But I've just never gotten around to scripting it. Like, I get ideas, like, in the middle of, like, the night sometimes. I'm like, oh, that'd be really good. And then it's just, like, they just sort of fizzle away. Someone just said, consent is key. I agree. Actually, that's a good question. Someone asked me earlier on who I want for 14, and I'm really not sure. Have you got anyone actor in mind-wise that you wouldn't mind seeing?
Joanna Lumley or Charles Dance?
Oh yeah, you did say
the top two. I mean, I don't know if it's that I think I favor a posh act to play the Doctor generally.
Posh and pompous, sort of like that sort of
posh and sort of posh with confidence, posh with huge confident energy. That's what I want for a Doctor.
Like Six, kind of, especially in TV. Yeah, no, that makes sense. I think the thing is with me, I think it would be really interesting to see a more vulnerable Doctor, but like over time they become more confident.
Well, yeah,
like that'd be a really interesting arc. Like. And that's something that I'd like to do if I was like ever got the opportunity. But yeah,
because I mean, I think even the most classic the most confident presenting Doctors, I think I generally hide the insecurities that they feel, and like that is sort of how 3 is written. I think 3 is a very confident man, but I don't think he's going to let slip when he's feeling insecure either.
Yeah, because there's that bit at the end, like Green Death and stuff, isn't there? Where he's like really vulnerable because Joe's leaving. And it's like one of the most iconic parts of his like tenure is that like final scene. So yeah, no, I agree with that. Yeah, no, that's fair enough. I haven't seen Charles Dance in an awful lot, to be fair.
He's in loads of really bad stuff, and no one knows why. Let's have a look at Charles Dance IMDb.
Charles Dance IMDb. I'll let you have a look. I'll keep an eye on the chat, just see what they're saying. I think Joe Martin should be the next Doctor. If Chibnall's staying on, yeah. But then again, I don't want like a Peter Capaldi situation where you get like someone really strong and they just get butchered by the writer that they're given. Not butchered necessarily, but you know what I mean, where it's like they're not given their full potential because they're stuck with a writer that can't phosphor it. I like the idea of the Doctor struggles with their humongous legacy. Yeah, that'd be interesting. I think part of the reason, actually, they didn't make 13 a bit more vulnerable, because there's parts of, like, her era where it seems like that's what they're going for, but they never fully commit. I think part of the reason they don't do that is because, again, I think they were worried that it'd create a stigma like, oh, you finally cast a woman in the role and you make her the most vulnerable one. It's like, well, yeah, but the character development... though.
But I mean, to be fair, they've already cast a woman in the role and made her the least confident, most underfoot, and like, least wise. But is the kindest way to say that. Yeah, well, I don't know, because they definitely intended to make her awkward, but I don't know. I think they might have just been trying to emulate previous Doctors who didn't. I think they've mistranslated. I mean, you know this. You've seen me talk about this.
Yeah.
I think they've mistranslated the sort of apathy of previous Doctors to not caring if they come across as weird, to a more fish out of water character for her, which does feel like a mistranslation more so than anything.
It would work though if it was like part of a, like as we've said before, like part of an ongoing arc.
Yeah, you can do, I think, basically anything with the Doctor if you arc it. If it's like this is the development.
Yeah, like that's the thing with the Doctor, is that the Doctor's been so many different things at this point that you can kind of just do anything with the Doctor pretty much, as long as you make it. As long as you develop it and you give it a reason to happen, I don't see why not.
Yeah.
Like, you know, I think with Eccleston's a great example of that. Like, no one would have thought to do a Doctor that was, like, had PTSD and was northern and didn't give a damn before Eccleston came along, because that's not what the Doctor was. But, like, the fact that that worked so well is kind of indicative that the Doctor can just be so many different things.
And the his character works so well because his entire regeneration is a response to the Time War. It doesn't just come out of nowhere.
Like, imagine, I've always said this, imagine if, like, 9 was written like 13 is, where he just talks about a war, but then never, like, shows any of the side effects of it. He's like, I was in a war, and then, like, he just acts really happy the rest of the time. It just wouldn't work. And I think, like, it'd be really interesting to, because I remember there was like a, someone did a video, this is out of left field, but I promise it's going somewhere. They did a video on how The Simpsons used to be written, and they compared old Simpsons to new Simpsons, and like why the jokes in like old Simpsons work so much better, and they showed so much more of the characters. I'd love to do that where it's like RTD version of 9, and then you do like a 13 Chibnall era version of 9, and like you sort of see the comparison point there, you know.
Definitely, because the writing style is so fundamentally different now. In terms of the story is almost sectioned off into we're doing plot now and it's just plot, or we're doing character now and it's just character, or we're doing the message now and it's just the message, which is a style, I will say.
But it never feels natural though, does it? Like, because that's just not how, like, conversations work. You never go from, right, now we're talking about fun things, to, Minan died. There's normally, like, some sort of transition point there, or some sort of flow of conversation. It just, I think that's why it doesn't feel very natural.
There is sort of that disconnect between, you can tell every time it's like, oh, it's time to talk about the thing, and then it's, oops, time to talk about the thing has ended. Yeah. And you can point to so many examples of that happening.
No, completely. Someone said that if Jo was the new Doctor, then she'd get a new TARDIS. Honestly, I'd just be happy with the one she's got. Like, that TARDIS is just so much better than what we have currently. I just, like, saw that in Fugitive of June, and I'm like, why? Why do we have the other one? This is so much better. And it is just, like, a classic one, but it's just so much better.
I mean, Jodie's TARDIS interior is probably my least favorite.
Yeah, me too.
It's just, it does look like a game show set to me.
Oh yeah, no, I get that. Again, as I said, it kind of gives me Krypton vibes. Like that's always what I've gotten from it. Like, if the Kryptonians built TARDISes, that's what they would look like.
Yeah.
With added piss, you know.
Well, it's supposed to look like Stenza stuff, isn't it?
Is it?
Yeah, the Stenza technology they show is all yellow crystals and stuff.
Oh yeah. I mean, I never got that vibe from it though. Also, how would the TARDIS know that? I mean, I guess they do sort of say in Ghost Monument that the Stenza took over that planet, so maybe the TARDIS subconsciously took inspiration from where it was landing for thousands of years. But that's
one of those things you have to headcanon. I mean, like, I think I can't remember how I heard talking about this, but I've definitely heard someone talking about this. The idea that they thought that when it was first revealed that there was going to be like a later on reveal that the Stenza meddled with the TARDIS when it was on that planet, and that was going to be the finale.
That'd be cool. That would be so much cooler than just what we got. Literally anything would have been cooler. Because that would make sense as well, because in Series 11, like, the TARDIS, like, doesn't go where the Doctor wants it to till, like, Episode 4. I mean, even then, actually...
Well, that is pretty business as usual, to be fair.
I mean, that is, yeah, but, like, it'd be cool if that was part of a narrative as well. I mean, like, yeah, it is pretty business as usual, but it would be interesting if that was expanded upon more. I just want more TARDIS, man. Like, the TARDIS has always been one of my favourite parts of the show. And it just feels like it's kind of just the setting for dialogue to happen now. And it's like, oh, you know. I guess
I've always wanted... I like it when it feels like the safe place, the home area, you know.
Yeah. No, I get that. Like, Capaldi's TARDIS is very good at that. Where it feels like someone's lived in it.
I remember that in the RTD era, there was like a promotional photo taken for some reason. I don't know what it was for, but it was 3 Dalek props in the TARDIS on the TARDIS set. Yeah. And I remember seeing that image as a kid and finding it really scary, because to me the TARDIS was always like the area that everything was safe. So the idea of Daleks in the TARDIS felt like absolute, you know, peak tension finale material to me.
Yeah.
And then when the RTD era ended and we never got an actual scene based on that promotional shot, I was kind of disappointed that we never got to see that those takes, really.
I think that's why, as well, for me, Doctor's wife works so well, because obviously that house entity takes over the TARDIS, and it weaponizes everything great about the TARDIS against the main characters. Like, that's why that works so well. It's the subversion of, like, okay, this is the safe place. Psych, it's being run by a psychopath. Have fun. It's great. It's great. I love that.
Hot take. Doctor's wife. Good.
Oh, that's not a hot take. That's just that. Like, I think people unfairly dock on a lot of like Matt Smith stuff. Like, I've genuinely seen people say that they think Doctor's Wife is a terrible episode, and I'm like, what's wrong with you? It's great. Oh man, Doctor's Wife is fantastic.
Doctor's Wife also does the Doctor's Wife, I think, is my favorite example of callbacks and like references to previous stuff done well.
Yeah.
It takes an ood and it puts it in a new context. It's not like we're doing the ood again. It's here's an ood. The thing
sense, like why they would be in another TARDIS interior as well. Like, that makes total sense.
It's like, hey, here's a time where it makes sense for things you've already seen to pop up, so they do.
They don't just for the sake of it.
It gives the world more of a sense of consistency, of like, this is still the same world. Remember, this isn't something new. This is, well, it is something new, but what's the word I'm looking for? Like coherence.
Yeah, cohesion.
Cohesion, to the world at large.
Mm-hmm.
Because, you know, all of these things would still exist in some capacity, or, you know, maybe they wouldn't, but a lot of stuff would. So yeah, when you've got like a story that requires there to be like a lower class of oppressed peoples that are being used as labor, you know, you can make them the Ood, and that's the way I think. But it has to be, the story calls for the thing to be in it rather than the thing is pushed into the story.
Yeah, well, I think Harbour pointed this out. Harbour Worms, who does like the video essay stuff, he did a review of Planet of the Ood, and they say that it's cool that a minor element of Satan Pit two-parter, the fact that the Ood are slaves, a minor part that's not really given much focus, is then used as the basis for an entire episode. It's like, it has that form of like, oh, we're expanding on this idea. It's like, you know, what every good sequel story theoretically should do, where it's like takes the concepts of the original and just expands upon them. And I think that's something that the RTD era in general is really good at, is just taking the things that you've seen and doing them really well. Like, you know, again, another point of comparison would be like New Earth and Gridlock. They take place in the same place, but they're totally different in every other aspect, pretty much. So yeah, that's like really cool. But no, yeah, Doctor's wife is fantastic. Someone said that it was originally written for the 10th Doctor. I actually think it works better for 11 because I feel like there are more moments where, I don't know whether I'm just manifesting this, but it does feel like there are more moments where the Doctor is just sort of talking to the TARDIS in that era. So I think it makes sense for it to be 11 for me personally. But
I couldn't picture it with 10. It would need a major rewrite. Oh, to be fair, I mean, with 10, it would be a very different story.
I just, yeah, like 10, I just don't think he relies on the TARDIS as much as 11 does. Like, it almost feels like, especially when Amy and Rory leave, like in The Snowman, you literally just see he's just been camping out in the TARDIS for like years. Because, like, you know, that's the one constant thing he's been able to rely on this whole time. Someone said, I really wish that in The Doctor's Wife they had ran into the secondary console room from season 14 rather than the RTD console room. Yeah, that's fair enough. But, like, I mean, you could say that about, like, any of them, though. Like, I'd have loved it if they'd have run into the movie one. Which I think, Jay, are we in agreement that the movie one's the best one?
There are probably a few changes I'd make to the movie one, but in concept, yes. Like, there are a few things about the movie one that bug me, but...
What are they, out of curiosity?
Yes. The time rotor is too skinny.
Wow.
I think, like, the walls being, like, actual stone, I'm not so much a fan of.
Okay.
I really like how it's decorated and everything, but I think it should look like a spaceship that's been decorated by a guy who lives in it, who likes old stuff, rather than... I don't think the literal walls themselves should reflect that.
That's fair. I always got the vibe that, like, the movie console room would be the one that, like, all the pompous Time Lords would use, because it's got, like, massive seals of wrestle on and stuff like that. It gave me, like, you know how, like, you know, big, you know, as they call them now, flag shaggers, have, like, big English flags in their, like, homes, and they're really patriotic and stuff. That's that equivalent for the Time Lords, where it's just got the seals of wrestle on everywhere, and, you know, stuff like that. Yeah, I love the movie TARDIS, though. Like, again, as I've said before, I've had the pleasure of seeing that console in real life, and it's such a beautiful prop, man. It's so good. I guess I just like the Victorian vibe of it as well. Like, that to me is like what a time traveler's thing would look like, where it looks old but at the same time sort of new at the same time. I really like that.
Yeah, and I do personally feel that the best way to strike that balance is to have, like, modern building, modern room filled with all of these Victorian things.
Yeah. I think that's what works well about, like, the original design from, like, the 60s as well, is that you have this, like, stark, white, futuristic interior, and then you just got, like, a grandfather clock just chilling out in the side, and, like, you know, Roman pillars are just there, and it's, yeah.
That said, though, I think my weird rule on this, that the walls themselves should look modern, sort of goes out the window when someone suggests that they could be made of dark wood.
Yeah.
That 70s control room is gorgeous, and any wooden control room I see fan art of looks great. I think so.
I think the thing that lets the season 14 console room down for me is the actual console bit. If the console was a bit more, there was a bit more to it. Imagine, right, the TV movie console room inside that room. Or, like, you know, maybe, like, with a bit of adjustment. Maybe you have... I've seen a bit of fan art, actually. I don't know whether I can find it again. But it was like the movie console, but it was, like, hybrid, like, with the classic, like, the McCoy... Because it was McCoy flying it, so it was kind of like the in-between point between the cancellation and the movie, at least in terms of...
Oh, like, is this is this, like, the new adventure stuff that was...
Yeah, it might well be that. I can't remember where I found it. Here it is, I've got it. I'll send it to you, and maybe I'll put it...
If you're talking about the image that I think you're talking about, this is, like, my maximum nostalgia image.
Is it this
It's
one?
like nostalgia for an era that never actually... Yeah, it is that one.
Yeah, this one looks great, man. I'd love this to be, like, just a console room. Hello, Dr. Gamer, how are you doing? Yeah, this one looks great. I'll see if I can put it on screen for the people at home to see. How do I copy a link to an image?
I don't think that's fan art, by the way. I think that's probably from a novel or something.
Yeah, it could well be from, like, a New Adventure or so. It does kind of have that New Adventure vibe, so it could well be that. Hopefully you guys can see that, chat. It's kind of like the in-between phase between the season 26 Battlefield console room to the movie, and I just really like that a lot. I like that it's got the classic Randalls, but then it's got like the McGann console, but with the little classic rotor. Oh my god, man! It looks
I like
so
the
good.
cat.
The cat's good too. Do you remember that rumor that there was going to be a cat in like Series 11?
I don't think I ever heard that.
Okay, so basically there was meant to be like this cat. I don't know what its name was meant to be, but like a regular TARDIS resident was just meant to be a cat, and I just kind of like that idea.
I
really like the idea of Doctor having a pet. What were you going to say?
really like. I found this, which is gorgeous. I don't know who drew that.
No,
let's see if
the rotor's not connected to the ceiling in that image. Nathan Mann. Oh yeah, this is like similar sort of vibes. Yeah, I really like that.
Oh, it's of course it is Paul Hanley. I should have recognized the art style.
Oh yeah, because he's done the was it the Morbius Doctor's book? Sorry if you can hear like any things in the background going on. Yeah, I think he did the Morbius Doctor's book thing that they released a little while back. Yeah, that looks really cool. Like something like that, like is a really cool like TARDIS console. Like maybe if I was showrunner, I'd just do something like that.
And this is sort of, I think this is just disproving my own, what I thought my own preferences were. I thought I didn't like the walls to look old-timey, but no, I love this one.
Yeah, even though it's all stone, which you said, like, but it does have, you can see in that drawing that there are the Randalls in the background. So the Randalls do still exist, and the futuristic walls are still there. They're just covered by like these stone archways, which is quite cool.
One piece of fan art I saw, which sort of like, you know, set off my fan fiction brain pretty much right away, was this it was this like expansive like savanna field thing with just like what looked like a sort of ancient ruin version of like the pillars that you had in the TARDIS, and then a console in the middle of them, and I'm like, is this whole natural world like the interior of a TARDIS? That's very cool.
Yeah, like there's so many cool like fan arts of the TARDIS, man. Do you ever just look sometimes at just like the fan art, the TARDIS fan art? I do. I end up scrolling through custom TARDIS interiors and be like, whoa, this is so cool. Like
I scroll through custom TARDISes, custom Daleks, and custom Cybermen.
Oh, some of the Cybermen designs were really good too. I've always thought it was a missed opportunity. I've got a lot of nostalgia for the episode The Next Doctor, because it was my first Doctor Who episode. But I always thought it was a missed opportunity looking back that they didn't do like steampunk Cybermen. Like, imagine if, because they fell through the void in Doomsday, I think it was, imagine if they just had to like rebuild themselves out of like Victorian parts. So you get like the Cybers design, but it's full of like, I think there is fan art of that as well. I've seen that. But yeah, that would have been like a really cool like idea. And like you might not have even needed the Cyber King then.
I don't think you needed the Cyber King anyway. I think remove the Cyber King from that story and it's improved.
I mean, I like it on a very 10-year-old level. It's like a giant cyber. Yeah. That's awesome. But, yeah. Custom Daleks bringing back memories of certain recent bit. I'm assuming that's the Dalek mod video, which Jay, you said you wanted to do at some point. We will have to do that some stage.
Yes.
I don't know how we're gonna do it because their like servers have gone down, so I'm gonna have to try and. I mean, unless I paid for like my own server in order to do it, but like I don't know how much the upkeep for a mod server would be for like a video. I'll find some way of us doing it. Like even if. Yeah, we'll find some way. I can show you how to install.
They'll probably go back up at some point.
Yeah. I get triggered. People call the TARDIS exterior a phone box rather than a police box. The first word on the top clearly says police. Yes. There was actually another thing I wanted to mention on this live stream. Someone found the trailer for like the BBC 3D programming, which like Dimensions in Time was a part of. And it's got this really terrible TARDIS exterior prop. Let me see if I had this on Twitter. Let me just...
Someone built a steampunk Cyberman, by the way.
Did they? Wait.
I've just sent you a picture.
Badass. Hang on, I'm going to show that to the people. I feel like... Do you know when Jesus just goes, You should now preach the Bible to the Lord. That's the equivalent, but I'm just sending people steampunk Spider-Man and different TARDIS interiors. Yeah, what was I looking for? Yeah, no, that was what I was looking for. The art of... Was it art? No, I can't remember what I was looking for now. If I scroll down far enough, eventually I'll find it. What I was looking for. Pardon the abundance of memes in my Twitter. What was it? I can't even remember now what I was looking for. Oh yeah, by the way, this is something I'm working on, and the long way around, Gingel Samuel, I hope I'm saying his art correctly, he did the art for it, and it just looks fantastic. It's an audio thing I'm working on. You guys can see it on screen. Jay, I'll send it to you because you might appreciate this. This is like for an audio that
Is this the picture of the Cyberman?
It may well be, yeah. I don't know whether you've seen it. This.
Yeah, I've seen this. It's great. Yeah, it's gorgeous.
It's for something I've been working on for a long time. Like it's a fan audio called Desecrated, and I can't say any more than that. But on stream anyway. Maybe I'll tell you like off air because like I don't want to spoil it for anyone watching the stream because it's been something I've been working on for a while. This was the thing I was looking for. So yeah, they did this like trailer for the BBC programming, and it had like a little 5-second bit with McCoy in it for Dimensions in Time, and this was the TARDIS prop that they used, and it just looks so bad. Like they couldn't even be bothered to have police box written on there. Police call box. They just wrote police. It just looks wrong. And as well, you'll notice, you'll see it more in like the actual video, but the TARDIS is fading whilst McCoy is still stood there. It's like, it's just...
Can you send me a link to that, actually? That's some really useful footage for the thing I'm literally editing, like, currently.
Oh, yeah, no, sure. I'll see if I can find... I had it a minute ago.
I didn't know that existed. I just need something to, like, show... Yesterday. As Doctor Who was, I need something to show the wilderness years, and that's pretty much perfect.
A new dimension in television is coming at you on BBC One.
I'll show the people the clip as well.
A third dimension.
The Doctor Who bit's like the first 12 seconds, I think. 12 to 14 seconds-ish.
Starting with children.
Man, this is already very 90s.
Yeah, I know.
At you on BBC One.
Wow, look at this revolutionary technology.
Dimension.
Leopard
You know who
3D
right in for a special 2-part adventure.
McCoy is so great. Like that's the. I don't know the context for like half of the rest of these programs. The only one I recognise was like Blue Peter. But yeah, no, the Doctor Who bit is just this first like 10.
Starting with children in need.
Doctor Who has stood the test of time.
Coming at you on BBC
It's
One.
about time.
Oh, that's a phrase.
Dimension.
It is.
Will bring you know who
From
right into your
TV
home for
movie
a special
advertising.
2-part adventure.
Yeah, I just love McCoy, man. I've always thought, and I headcanoned this on Twitter as well. Imagine the season 26 Sylvester meeting the 9th Doctor, as in Series 1. Like, I'd love to see that dynamic, because you have, like, the height of his confidence and his sort of him taking his responsibility as a Time Lord seriously, and that sort of stature, because he's like considered like Time's champion and stuff. Contrast that with the guy who lost all of that very recently in the Time War. That would be such an interesting dynamic. Seeing them two together.
I definitely agree with that. There'll be a very interesting pairing, and it's sort of weird though, because they always feel like they're from very different worlds, because you've got McCoy, who is in a way the dweebiest. I guess, Colin Baker, and then Eccleston, who is the most straight-laced. It almost sort of feels like they couldn't share a screen in my mind, but of course they could.
I just imagine the 9th Doctor being really embarrassed over the 7th Doctor, like the big question mark jumper and stuff. I imagine him being like really embarrassed by that.
I think he'd be sort of condescending, really.
Yeah. Well, I mean, when I say embarrassed, I mean like he'd be embarrassed internally, but what he would do is he'd like, you know, shout at himself basically. Like, what was I thinking? This,
Yeah.
you know.
I do think though he would have more that he was. I mean he just roast himself really, wouldn't he?
Yeah,
and he would
be
mean it.
definitely. I don't know whether 7 would like. I definitely think if like 3 and 9 met, I think 3 would probably underestimate 9, because I get that because he's always got a respect for like authority, and I get the sense that like Eccleston just doesn't at all. Especially because Eccleston has said that like that's something that he wanted to do when he took over the character. So it'd be really interesting to see like the one Doctor who really respects authority, to a certain extent anyway, clash with the one that like really doesn't.
3 is weird because he respects authority and then he doesn't.
He respects authority when it's authority he approves of. It's like it's he's very inconsistent like that.
Which I'm not sure the show ever realized he has those values. Because you know he does sort of because that's very much a character there. He respects authority when it's authority he likes.
Yeah.
Which is absolutely what he does, but I'm not sure the show ever characterized him that way deliberately.
No, I think the thing with the Third Doctor is that like he definitely feels like a transition between two like political eras, where you've got like the 60s, and then like, you know, you move on a bit more, and it's, you know, it's stuck between the 60s ideology to starting to be and then starting to become more like progressive in terms of like politics.
Yeah.
Where it's like, yeah, England for the English, good heavens, man, while simultaneously being like, Joe, how dare you insult the Brigadier? He's your commanding officer. He's like, so it's very much like transitional in that respect. Like personally for me, like Pertwee's like my least favorite classic Doctor, which may be a hot take. I mean, either him or Davison, but like, do you get what I think? I just don't warm to him as much as some of the others. But I think
I find him to be one of the most easily likable Doctors.
Oh, really? That's interesting, because like I've always struggled with 3, which is weird. Is there any like classic Doctors, if any, that you've sort of had that with?
Or that I don't warm to.
Yeah, or like not as easily as the others. Maybe not like not.
I mean, I find that that 3 and 4 are the easiest to warm to, and then the rest are sort of more, you know, they're entry level, and then the rest are more sort of you've got to put in the work, and then you'll get something back. You've got to you've got to stick it out because they're not as instantly charming, I guess.
I think 5 is a long haul.
Yeah.
Like, I think that's why a lot of people struggle with 5, is because he's not as immediately readable as some of the others. Like, you know, even though Doctors do develop over time, I don't think Peter Davison has as much of an immediate impression as some of the others do. So, like, with 4, for example, you immediately get the impression that he's just from somewhere else. Like, completely and utterly just not in the same room as everyone else. And then with 6, you immediately get the impression that obviously, even though it wasn't what he'd evolve into, he's very much the pompous, kind of arrogant one.
Yeah.
And then with 5, it's just like, he's nice, you know? It's
yeah, that's literally the joke that Honest Trailers make when they did their classic Doctor Who episode.
Yeah.
Is they call him he seems nice, Doctor.
Yeah. And that is kind of what he is. And don't get me wrong, I do get what they were doing, because they needed someone who was a bit more grounded after Tom Baker was literally just, well, Tom Baker. But, yeah, I guess, like, he's sandwiched in between 2 very distinct Doctors. So I think that's why people struggle a bit with him. I think 7 I gel to really easily. I think I've always just liked the more mischievous, trickster-type Doctors, though. That, like, you know, your 2s, your 7s, and 11s. Like, those are always the ones that I enjoy the most, personally.
Yeah, I definitely get that sense. I feel a Doctor without some of that is a bit lost. But yeah. I do admire 4's ability to... 4 strikes me so much as a man who was raised, I mean, and he is, raised in an environment that he couldn't be bothered to respect.
Yeah.
Like... he strikes me as the man who thought he knew better than the people trying to teach him stuff, and then was right. Like,
he's that kid in school who's like, when the teacher's being unreasonable, calls them out on it, and he's correct, and then just walks out. He's that kid. Definitely. I definitely get that vibe.
Yeah, and I do respect that, because that is the Doctor's origin. In the Doctor, I feel, represents that sort of elite who was rejected the elite status.
Yeah.
I think that's the best argument in many ways to keep the Doctor a white man, because he represents that historical elite.
Yeah, definitely.
That group of people who's had the power previously, because he's rejected the power and rather used the bits of the power that he's held on to do whatever he wants with.
I've never even thought about it like that, but that makes total sense.
Well, yeah, that's why I think posh white man is sort of the archetype. But it's coding. It's not a hard and fast rule. He's not literally from the historical British aristocracy.
Yeah.
But so he can be anything.
The Time Lords have always kind of been a metaphor for that aristocracy, though, haven't they? Like, maybe it wasn't intentional, but I always got that vibe from them, that they are like the British elite. Like, that's the vibe I've always got. Putting someone on trial unfairly, for example, having a bit of a broken justice system, that makes total sense. But yeah. No, I've always.
Well, they're dusty old, have power, and read books. Like,
yeah,
that's pretty much them.
Exactly. I've never even thought about that, but you've given me a whole new perspective. But I think, you are right that it's not a hard and fast rule, because I think that Ruth actually does a really good job of conveying, at least in the short time we see here, the sort of kind of cockiness and arrogance of the character in a fresh kind of way. It's why I kind of just want more of the Ruth Doctor. It's the same thing with the console room as it is with the actual Doctor that inhabits it. It's like, you show us this, and then you give us this. It's like, what is going on there? I've never understood that. Like, it'll always be confusing to me that they gave us a Doctor that has so many of the things that, fixes a lot of the issues that some of us have had with 13 in the middle of 13's tenure. That's just weird to me.
Well, I feel like, there's sort of that. There's got to be that sort of lack of self-awareness anyway,